you. Can you guys hear me correctly? Yes, seems to be working. Cool. So yeah, I'm Julien Niset, one of the three co-founders of Argent. For those of you who know, Argent is a mobile wallet in the Ethereum ecosystem. We've been around for a bit more than 4 years. And what's pretty cool is that even though Argent is a UK-based company, the three founders are from Brussels. So it's pretty exciting to be speaking at the Brussels Blockchain Week. Can I have a remote control to change slides? That might be useful. Yep. Thank you. And this is working, cool. So starting with the obvious, I think we can all agree that blockchains are eating the world. There's a few reasons for that. They are open and permissionless, and that, of course, unlocks innovation at an unprecedented speed. They enable true digital ownership. They are gradually going to a stage where they are cheap, fast, and secure, and they will be inclusive and global. And these are, I guess, what excites us all, and that's why we are here today. And so at Argent, we've been convinced for the past 4 years that our digital future will be powered by blockchain at some point. Whether we speak about identity, art, money, real estate, I mean, everything we are and everything we own is already partly digital, and so at some point, it will be supported on-chain. But as a user, to actually take part in that amazing world that people call Web3, you need a wallet. A wallet is a piece of software that will act as a gateway to that world, to this decentralized application. And so there's two categories of wallet. The first one is the one which is envisioned in the ethos of blockchain. It's where the user actually controls his keys. He really controls his access to the system, and these wallets are called non-custodial. And Ethereum, besides Argent, some well-known companies are MetaMask and Ledger. So in that case, you really control the access to the blockchain, you control your key, to be specific, and so you control your assets. But of course, as I will discuss in a few seconds, self-custody is still too hard today. And so for that many reasons, a lot of people are actually turning towards custodial solution. The idea of a custodial solution is that you delegate the management of your key, of your access to a centralized party, and because that's typically easier. And so a good example of custodial solution are Coinbase, Finance, FTX. And the problem is, I'm sure if I was asking the question in this room, I'm pretty sure everybody here is actually using a custodial solution, and probably half of the room will be using a non-custodial solution. The problem is, can we really say the system is open and permissionless if actually you delegate the access to a centralized company? And of course, the answer is no. And this is not a philosophical question. For those of you that have been monitoring the market, they've probably realized that the market is kind of down, and that has a lot of consequences on some of the major centralized solutions, because they've been investing the crypto of their users, just like a normal bank would do. And if the market tanks, some of them are actually need to block the access to their users, because they don't have the liquidity for the users to exit their centralized solution. And one main example is Celsius, which had to actually block withdrawals. I mean, we're talking about something open and permissionless, and then a centralized company can actually say, whoa, whoa, whoa. Right now, we know we need to block you because we don't have your funds. I mean, that's, of course, is a major issue. But as I said, the main reason for that is because I think we, as developers, haven't done a good enough job. Self-custody is still typically way too hard. And there's a few reasons for that. I think there's three main axes of difficulties. The first one is that with self-custody, you need to manage a user secret, typically a private key, a seed phrase. And you need to manage that secret at all costs, because if you lose it, you've lost everything. There's no admin to contact. And if it's compromised, meaning if I have your secret, I actually have everything. And for me, when I started in the blockchain world, I thought it was kind of funny, because with the internet, Web2, we've tried to convince people for 40 years to not write their password on a piece of paper. And now we're building an internet of value, and the first thing you ask is actually to write down that secret on a piece of paper. But not one time, write it 3 or 4 times to make sure that if something goes wrong, you'll still have access. I mean, that's a terrible user experience. And also that's something that needs to be fixed. The second problem is that with self-custody, you cannot make mistakes. Every time you interact, I mean, you need to enter, addresses, you contact to DApp. It's very easy to make a typo when you connect, or it's very easy to connect to a website that seems legit, but it's not. It's trying to, phish you or to hack you. And so with self-custody, there's literally no safety net. Every action you do, you are fully in control, which is beautiful, but there's an amazing responsibility with that, and it's way too easy to make mistake. And I think the third real problem is that everything is too complex. If you try to invest in a DeFi protocol, typically it will require making 3, 4, or 5 on-chain transactions. And with each of these transactions, there is the risk of making a mistake. And so for this reason, the majority of users today, let's face it, have turned towards custodial solution. And I mean, this problem, again, they're not theoretical. If you look at crypto Twitter, for example, every single day you will be people, explaining how they've lost access to their fund, how they were hacked, or how they lost their seed phrase. I think the one on the top right is quite interesting because Hugh is actually the founder of a well-known DeFi project. So even crypto experts make mistakes because we are humans. So I think if we really want to scale blockchain and scale self-custody to mainstream users, we need to find new paradigms. And so it's a real question. How can we bring self-custody to mainstream user? If our goal is to bring the blockchain to anybody's hands, then we need to find a solution to make that doable while still maintaining what we believe at Argent is a key property, which is self-custody. And of course, I wouldn't be here if there wasn't an answer to that. There is a solution, at least we believe at Argent, and that's what we've been building for the past 4 years. And our spin, if you want, our secret sauce, is that with Argent, your account is a smart contract. On a platform like Ethereum, you can write smart contract, and what we've decided is to actually use this smart contract as your account. So not the keys that you have on your phone. The keys is just like a remote control, which is authorized to ping your smart contract, but actually your real wallet, the object that holds your fund, that holds your identity, is a smart contract. And why is that interesting? Because on smart contract, you can put logic. And so you can actually define the security of your account in the smart contract itself. Okay, and so that's really the illustration of Argent. With Argent, your smart contract will have your ETH, your DAI, whatever. It will have custom logic to define the security perimeters, what is authorized, what is not. And then on your phone, you have a key, but that key is really just act as a remote control to trigger commands on the smart contract. And so using that paradigm, I believe that we've actually cracked solutions for these 3 problems that I explained. The first problem is the problem of seed phrase. And so with Argent, we came up with a solution that has been coined social recovery. The idea of social recovery is exactly the same experience that you would get with a modern banking application. If you lose your credit card, what you do is typically you call your bank, you ask them to freeze your card and to send you a new one. Because we can program the account, the smart contract, we can program the same protocol in the contract itself. That means that with Argent, when you set up your account, you have your main key, which is on your phone, but you can actually add another key that you will give to a party that you trust. And if for some reason you've lost access, you've lost your phone, that party can reprogram your account and reset a new key. But it doesn't need to be just one party. It can actually be 2 out of 3, 3 out of 4. It can be a service that you trust. It can be a friend. It can be a hardware wallet. So it's exactly the experience that you have with your modern banking application, except that you choose who act as your bank. And so thanks to social recovery, you can get rid of seed phrase. And we're not the only one to believe that this is actually the long-term solution for a wallet. Vitalik, which is one of the founders of Ethereum, has been praising Argent and social recovery for the past 2 or 3 years because he too believes that this is the right way to move forward. Second problem is, as I said, is the fact that you cannot make mistake. And again, because you can program your account and put logic, we've enabled fraud monitoring. How do we do that? It's because, again, on your account, you can decide to add another key, and you can give that key to a service. And that key will need to co-sign transaction. So every time you make an action, you connect to a dApp, the wallet will actually send the raw data to that service, and that service is better than a human to actually identify if this is a legit or a problematic action. So it can pass the data, and it can use on-chain data. It can check, is the target recipient blacklisted, or is it whitelisted? Or are you sending more fund than you should be because you've set a daily limit of $100 and suddenly you're transferring $50,000? And depending on that verification, that service can actually put a risk score on your transaction, and based on that, may either co-sign the transaction automatically, so it's transparent to the user if everything is okay. If he has doubt, he may actually ask you to confirm your action with a second factor. So exactly the experience that you would get with a modern banking application, except that it's written at the blockchain level and you are still in control. So it's still 100% non-custodial, but actually it's the kind of flow that users are used to. A second thing is the complexity, right? When I said you want to invest your token in some complex DeFi protocol, you need to make a lot of transactions. But because your account is a smart contract, your account can actually orchestrate this interaction. So if you need to, say, make 5 transactions, with Argent, you can actually make 1 blockchain transaction, which will tell your account to do these 5 interactions one after the other. So for the user, you're actually doing something very complex on-chain in just 1 tap, 1 signature. And so that drastically removes the complexity of interacting with protocols on-chain. There's still, in all fairness, one advantage of custodial solution is that they're typically cheaper. Why? Because, of course, if they control the funds of the user, they can actually do whatever they want. If 50 users want to do a certain operation, they can actually do that in 1 on-chain transaction, because in the end, as a user, the only thing you are is a record in their database. And that enables them to provide access to primitives, to DeFi protocol at a cheaper cost. But fortunately, there's no solution for that. And that's what people call layer 2. So I will not get into the details of layer 2s. But the idea of a layer 2 is to basically pack a bunch of transactions and put them in 1 transaction on the base layer, which in our case is Ethereum. And that enables to really drastically reduce the fees. And so at Argent, we've been working with 2 layer 2 providers. I will now discuss about 1, but we've been working with ZK Sync and Starkware to actually enable us to bring our model to a system with much cheaper transaction fees. And so what can you do with all this? What can you do today on Argent? The first thing you can do is you can buy token. I mean, that's obvious, but so today on Argent, we've integrated some on-ramp providers, and depending on your location, you will have access in a few taps. You can actually just buy $50 of ETH, for example, or 50 euro, or $50 of DAI. And all it takes is a few taps. A second thing that you may want to do is you want to swap token. And again, here we are non-custodial, so we've integrated with decentralized exchanges. And we've orchestrated this interaction, which means that on your Argent, you can, again, in 3 taps, you can select the token that you want to sell, for example. You select the token you want to get. You input the amount. You review your trade. You're OK with the transaction fees. Good. 1 click, you've swapped your tokens. But again, because we can wrap complex protocol into 1 transaction, we will actually provide you access to certain DeFi protocol in 1 action. And so, for example, let's say you want to invest your ETH. So now using the on-ramp, you've on-ramp ETH to your wallet, and you want to put them in Yearn, which typically is something that is complex to do. Well, with Argent, you say, OK, I want to invest my ETH, and we'll actually show you different protocol that you can use to put your ETH to action. And of course, each of these protocols has different trade-offs. The more complex they are, meaning generally there's more smart contract involved, and so the risk is a bit higher, but you will get higher yield. So depending on your user profile, you can choose to just simply put your ETH into Lido and get STEs, and for that you will get a certain return. Or you can put them in Yearn, or you can put them into something even more complex, and you'd use leverage staking. All of these primitives, they're actually non-custodial. So it's not like we do that for you, it's just that we'll orchestrate the interaction, and in the end, in 1 click, you will get the end token of the protocol. So coming to end, the TLDR of this talk is quite simple. I think the first thing we should all focus on is that self-custody matters. I do believe that people tend to consider self-custody like security. You don't care until you've been hacked and until you've had a problem. I do think we should treat self-custody the same way we treat security. We should care now, because it's a fundamental property of blockchains. And of course, I don't think users should be blamed. We as developers should be blamed because we need to provide a user experience that enables normal users to have access to self-custody. And so I think that's very, very important. And so that's what we've been doing for the past 4 years at Argent with our unique smart contract model. Thanks to layer 2s, we can now bring the cost of transacting to less than 10 cents on average. And as I've shown, you can do anything you want in terms of DeFi, but of course with Argent, it can go beyond DeFi. You can have NFTs. There's a lot of stuff that you can do. I try to illustrate that with DeFi. But so I do believe that today, there's literally no excuse of not using a non-custodial wallet like Argent. And with that, thank you. Yeah. So yeah, if you want to know more, please check the website. You can install the app on the dApps Apple Store on Google Play. We'll also give a session this afternoon to really show concretely how you can onboard to Argent. For the ones here that actually don't have an Argent wallet, please check that session this afternoon. We'll help you get set up. That would be great. And thank you. There's a few minutes for questions, or if we're all good to go. 2 minutes. Seems to be a question there. Yeah. Yeah. No, actually, I can't hear you.
Thank you. I was just asking, have you faced any challenges with regulatory agencies in the different jurisdictions you operate in? And if you haven't yet, do you foresee any coming forward?
That's a good question. The answer is not yet, because I think, again, that's one of the benefits of self-custody. In contrary to a custodian, which must be highly regulated, here we're just providing a software, but actually the user is in full control of their fund. So I think the rules of the games are a bit different. Of course, if you want to on-ramp, so go from fiat to crypto, this is regulated. But for that, we've integrated partners. So we actually never touch your fund. We are just providing a piece of software for you to do these actions. So I think at some point, the regulation of self-custody will change, of course. I'm not the best person to talk about that because I'm a tech guy. But so far, being self-custodian has been actually something beneficial for us. Yeah. So the question is, do we have plan to go cross-chain? So yes, we are focused on the Ethereum ecosystem. So as an ecosystem and as a layer 1, we really want to focus on Ethereum because we believe that that's where most of the innovation is today. That's where most of the developers are. But even on Ethereum, there's a lot of people building layer 2s, and we believe the future, users will onboard to Ethereum through layer 2s. I think the cost of transaction will increase as the load of users grows, and so we believe in layer 2s, and for that we've been focused on ZK rollup. So today I did not discuss everything we do at Argent, but today, if you want, we have 3 products. On the mobile application, we have a wallet, a vault for layer 1. We have a wallet on ZK Sync, which is a ZK rollup, but we also have a browser extension on Starknet, because this is an ecosystem in which we believe a lot. So yes, we will be cross-chain. I also do believe that users actually don't care. Users will come to blockchain because they want to do an application, they want to play a game, they want to do something. So I think actually on which chain you are is like, do you wonder, if the app that you contact is on Amazon or on IBM? You don't care. In the end, users, they want to have access to an application. So I think as a wallet, we will be cross-chain, but this will be fully abstracted to our users. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.